Cameraman Grades, cameramangrades.com, professional consultations for camera operators, video coordinators, and sports video experts at all levels. Find us at cameramangrades.com or contact us directly at cameramangrades@gmail.com for your own sports video consultation. Currently looking for the best camera operator of the 2025 NFL season. These are the best of the best, and we're putting it to the test. Today we are looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. Let's get into it. Alright, so here we are looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, in my last video I mentioned that the Arizona Cardinals were at the top as far as filming football games in the NFL, and I could hear emails being sent from the Jacksonville area code, and I could just expecting that my phone was going to start ringing off the hook with calls from Jaguar fans who obviously are seeing some excellent video from their team, and we want to take a look and see how they match up. But I can tell you that I have seen video from the Jacksonville Jaguars previous games, and they are doing excellent work, and I want to see how they match up across the NFL. But I can tell you that so far what I've seen has been very, very positive. And so let's go to week 14, a little later into the season, to see how well they've improved from the beginning of the season to the end, and how well they've been able to sustain the length of the NFL season. So let's get into it. Excellent. Okay. Dropping out the kicker to start. Okay. And this is something that I've been calling for. I've seen this from other teams, not just the Jaguars, but look at that. That is exactly where you want to see it. So much detail, so much clarity in what these players are doing. Okay. The kicker is really not involved until he does actually pop into the frame, just slightly. Okay. Right there. That's all I need to see from the kicker on this. He got down the field and got involved. He would be able to be in the right position to make a play here if needed. Okay, and in most cases, if he's coming down the field like that, you're going to see it from the end zone shot as well. So in this case, this is exactly what I want to see from special teams kickoff. All right, slight zoom out to make sure that they got the returner in the shot as he receives the ball. But for the most part, it's just a straight pan across, and look at all that detail. This is 22 guys, you guys. So this is exactly everybody that you need to see in the shot, with no additional zooming out and no reason to widen out at all. So great job there to start the game. All right. Setup is good. Nice and tight to start. All right. Safety's right on the edge. Fantastic. Yes. Yes. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. Excellent. All right. Quarterback hits the edge just briefly. Why is that an issue? Because he's the one with the ball, right? So I want to see his footwork. I want to see everything that he's doing. Even just for a moment, if he steps off the edge, that's enough to, just ding you on a play, right? So like right here, this is really where you want to be, right? And there's nothing keeping you from being here as opposed to here where the quarterback's stepping off, right there. Okay, so I would rather see it right there, right? And if there's anything we can do, any sort of adjustments we can make to make that happen, that's what I want to see. But man, oh man, that is some good looking footage. All right, here we go. Okay, interesting. Let's just back this up real quick. All right, right here, I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, okay, we've got a good tight setup. Really nice. Okay, something's missing though. All right, if we were to actually count this out, 3, 6, 9, 10, right? And he may have counted them and said, oh, there's 11, okay? Or you peek over the camera and you see that there's somebody off screen, right? Get out to get them, right? And so, bam, bam. Okay, this guy's off just a slight bit. Quarterback right on the edge. Looks great. Jacksonville. Let's go. Fourth and 7. Punting. Okay. All right. My one critique here would just be that coming up. I lost it. Hold on a second. I'm going to go find it. I'm going back to it. So coming up to see the, the crowd, right? Not really helpful. I'd rather see more field. Okay, keep the action on the field. Bring this down. Show more field. If you're going to have open space, have it on the field. All right. But yeah, that looks good. Yes, perfect. Perfect setup. All right. Safety steps off on the right hand side just for a moment, right there. And we've got extra space behind the quarterback. Where's the easy fix for that, right? The easy fix, you come over just a little bit, left to right. Okay, is there anything keeping them from going left to right on this? No, not at all. There's nobody over here. Okay, there's nothing left of the quarterback, and there's guys that are moving off the frame here, right? I don't want to do that. I'd rather see the players. So it's an easy fix. You just got to adjust that left to right pan. You don't even have to zoom out any. So common issue that I see, just having a little extra space behind the quarterback can cause just enough to drop a guy out on that side. Okay. So I've seen that a couple times here in this opening drive for each team. So, at this point, I'm going to be watching for that. And the overall is looking so excellent that, that is something that I would say needs to be corrected at this point. And if it is, you're talking about just spot on footage from beginning to end. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about now. The quarterback is filling that edge as he drops back. You got a little bit of extra space behind the quarterback. Drop back, but he doesn't zoom out with him. He lets him fill that space, right? Just slightly zooming out, but still nice and tight on both sides. And then the ball's away. Now, recognition, seeing that the ball's away, you don't have to continue to zoom out, right? Once that happens, you can start to zoom back in, unless the route is continuing to go long. But man, that's some good looking footage. All right, nice tight setup. Really don't need to be any tighter than that. Solid. Might like to see more of the guys at the bottom of the screen a little longer on that, but not bad. this is all 22 guys in the shot the entire time. Fantastic. Okay, extra point. Setup is good. No extra movements. What's referee say? Yeah, I'll get around to it. Special teams kickoff. I like this Jacksonville kickoff. A little pan over. Okay, zoomed out a little bit on that one, but not bad. And fantastic. Excellent detail. And man, coughing up the ball again. Here we go. Nice tight setup. Within a yard or two on each side. Love that. Okay, dropped a guy. Dropped out a guy on that side. Alright. This safety, we need to see him for a little while longer. If not throughout the entire play. Right? I'm seeing quarterback over here after he releases the ball. If he's not in the shot, this whole side comes this direction. I'm seeing sidelines down here, and I'm losing a guy back here. I would rather stay up and back to see him. Okay, quarterback rolling out, you're going to have to make sure that you keep him in the shot. That means you're zooming out, right? So, but only for a brief second. So if you are keeping that guy in the shot, and then again, not showing the entire sideline, right? Keeping that guy in the shot and then keeping more guys in at the end. That is going to be ideal. Okay, I want to see that again. And I'm going to adjust this here. Okay. All right. So, right here, nice tight setup, and the guy's gone. Okay. We got to see him, right? I want to see his footwork. I want to see his hip movement. I want to see his change of direction, right? So I know these cameras can zoom out wider than that. And this is the time when you need it, right? This is the time when I want to have those wider shots that I'm seeing from a lot of filmers in the NFL. And in doing so, you're going to keep that guy in the shot. Okay, losing him again. All right. This is such a nice tight setup, but that safety has to stay in the shot. All right, and it's a simple zoom problem. It's not. There's no extra space behind the quarterback. They fill that really well. Okay, but you got to keep both sides in view at all times. All right. But man, oh man, will you look at that tight shot though? Looks really good, right? And there he goes again. So this is something I hadn't seen as much of earlier in the season. So this is kind of interesting that this is popping up, this consistent issue with a guy running off the backside. That's the reason why a lot of the filmers stay out wider than this, right? But I actually like this nice tight setup. You're seeing so much detail, but you gotta stay with it. Yes. Run recognition. As soon as he sees it, stops zooming out and allows this play to develop. Okay, I'm expecting a pass. It's a pass. Everyone's in frame the entire time. Alright, I'm going to go find that one again because that was really good. 7:16. Alright. I'm just going to pause it at any point here. Pause. Pause. Okay. Lost just the back edge of his heel while still having space here. But at any given point in this shot, there is a guy right on the edge, which is fantastic. Alright. Keep him in the shot. Yep. Bootleg, rollout. Excellent. Textbook. Okay. Play was moving one direction, came back the other way. Keeping everybody in the shot. It really doesn't get any better than that. Alright, I'm expecting a handoff. Yes. Okay. Just because I'm expecting it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but just from what I'm seeing on the in the formation, in the setup, it's enough to indicate that that's what I'm going to see, right? And if he keeps it, pulls it down, and rolls out, you know, you're zooming out with everybody, and you know, keeping the receivers in at that point. All right, nice. Really tight formation here. Also indicates a handoff. Yep, straight ahead. I like it. Okay, really not much to zoom in on that. Something I've said with other teams previously is, you know, when you're in that tight of a setup on a goal line formation, and you're really just cramming the ball forward, it's already tighter than 99.9% of any formations you're going to see. So in doing so, you know, the quarterback sneaks, all right? That formation is already just as detailed as you really need to. And so you don't need to zoom in any farther from that. That is excellent. This is so good. Okay, nice. Stoic. It doesn't really change. It doesn't adjust wildly to things that you're seeing on the screen. There's a lot happening here, and they are just ready for it. Man, oh man. Right here. All right. Right there. This has as tight of a shot as the opening frames. Right? This is as tight as this, 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 and I'm still seeing 22 guys in the shot up until right here when we start to zoom in. That's how you do it. Okay. Safety drops back, hits the edge again. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. You catch that? Yeah, you did. Let's go. Okay. This, I want to see what's going on here. Right. Pause. 22 in the shot. Balls away. Okay. Balls away. At this point, these guys aren't going to be as involved. They can certainly drop out, which they do. Excellent. Wow. Fantastic. Okay. So you got a lot of extra space behind the quarterback here. Not a lot of space behind the defense, but they're using that space as the quarterback drops back. Still a lot of space back there, but this is footage that 99.9% of coaches are going to just, love to have, and really no reason to, be too worked up over having extra space behind the quarterback. Certainly something that you can correct. But absolutely everything that happened in that play was spot on. Okay, a little bit zooming out on the kickoffs just to make sure, but it's just leaving a lot of extra space behind the front line. If you're dropping out the kicker, the next conceivable person that you're going to stop for is the entire front line. So you go ahead and just pan over until you get there. All right. Safety is still hitting the edge on that one side, but it's something that can be corrected with just staying out just a hair wider is going to correct that. Safety hit the edge again. Okay. All right. 2nd and 8. Beautiful. Okay, no play. That's too bad because it was a really great setup. Sometimes the filmer's got the perfect setup and the play doesn't even count. But that's okay. Got another opportunity right here. Safety hit the edge again. Man. Nope, they're waving off that defense. They're pointing. They're moving. Shifting. Moving around. Nice. Filmer doesn't bite on any of it. He sees it. I'm not worried. That was fantastic. Okay. Oh, the safety. Okay. Run recognition is great because you can drop out guys once you realize that they're not going to be in the play anymore. These guys are still in the play. You have to see their footwork and their change of direction. Okay. So dropping them out early is not helpful on a run play like that. Okay, you need to keep them in the shot at least briefly, and then these are the guys you're dropping out, right? Not these guys. These guys. Look at these. These guys are doing absolutely nothing. Jogging. Okay. Keep these guys in the shot. They're rushing up the field, and they're gonna make a play on it, right? And if they do make a play, I want to know why they made the play so quickly. Oh, it's because he changed direction faster than anybody else on the field. That's good information to know, right? That you can't see it if he's not on screen. Okay, punting. If this is as good as you can do in this situation, there's guys running off the field. There's guys running into the sidelines. There's guys running everywhere. Punt is going 60 yards in the air. Hang time, all that. You need to be able to get all that in the shot, and they did it. Okay, right there. Safety's making moves on the field. I can see it. That's great. Motion? No motion. Reset. Okay. Looks good. It's a good setup. Yes. All of this is fantastic. Jacksonville. Looking good. Yes. Okay. So clean. What I really like about Jacksonville is they've got their tripod dialed in for really smooth movement. This is excellent. Panning, zooming, everything. Oh my goodness. What a great play. Okay. I get to see that, right? Because of what they're doing here. Yep. It's all dialed in, right? I can critique that, a guy stepped off the screen briefly, right? I can critique that a guy hit the edge, and I didn't get to see where his foot exactly hit the ground. But when your tripod and your camera is set up so cleanly that you're getting such clean motion out of it, okay. They're getting the ball back more often than they were expecting to here. All right, changing directions. Yes to all this. This is exactly, show me somebody who's doing it better than that. Perfect. Okay, straight pan across. Yes. Okay, zooming out, giving a little extra space. I really liked the opening kickoff. Since then, there's been a little more extra space. Just zooming out, just out of precaution, which is fine, but not necessary. Okay. If you're going to zoom out of precaution, do it when the safety's taking backward steps, like there, right? I want to see that safety. Okay, quarterback's off the screen this time. All right. Okay, quarterback's off. So the quarterback steps off very early, right there. Okay, he's off. Quarterback footwork is important. Their plant foot, how they're throwing off of it, how they're reacting to the pressure that's in front of them, right? You got to see it, which you do. But in that brief moment, you couldn't, right? Because they were off the screen. Now, once you get to this point, now we're bringing up the box and taking a look at it. So, here to there, okay, that's everybody. And that is less than 70%, about 65%. All right, so at that point, your grade speaks for itself at 65%. I used to get 65% in high school in Mr. A's science class, and yeah, he didn't like that. So solid. Looks really good. Beautiful. Wow. Yeah, let's see it. All right. I can bring up the box here, but the box is 100%, right? 95%, 99%, 99%, 100%, right? The box is the frame. It's the screen that you're currently watching, and that is where we want to be. That's what I'm talking about. Jacksonville. It is that good. It can be improved on, but it is really that good in Jacksonville right now, which is fantastic. Okay, excellent. Now, there you saw the zoom out just briefly to start, until the run recognition kicks in, and then you can zoom back in, right? But zooming out to make sure you're keeping those receivers in the shot until you identify what's happening. Okay, all right. Both sides. You got the quarterback on one side who has the ball, right? The guy with the ball, we need to see him 100% of the time. And then the safety on their side. So, okay. I want to see the good parts of Jacksonville film on every play, and none of the bad parts, right? The bad parts are dropping out a defender within the first 2 seconds of a play. Play hasn't really developed yet. I want to see how he's responding, right? If at some point, you're dropping out the quarterback, cool. This guy kind of, he's done. He's done for now. He might do something. There's a lot of guys back behind the play that aren't really doing much. But this guy, at this point of the play, nah, he needs to be in it, right? And that's just a simple pan, left to right, right to left, right? Keeping the guy's helmet on. Man, brutal. Okay. You've got to release your setup to keep these guys in the shot. Beautiful. Perfect setup to start. Quarterback fills into that space. No more zooming out from there. Okay, excellent. So what I see here is once we get to this point, right, we're still right tight to both sides, right? And that in itself is, if you're gonna gain extra yardage, right here, there's a little bit extra space on both sides, but then they stop, they recognize it, and they let the play fill in, right? It's filling in that space automatically, and that's perfect. Just wanted to wave hi to the quarterback there, and now they're zooming out. Okay, awesome, awesome. This is it, right? This safety is going to stay in the shot the entire time. This quarterback stays in the shot the entire time. This is a perfect setup with all 22 guys in the shot the entire time. This is what all 22 film means when they say it, right? You can't keep all 22 guys in the shot the entire time, and it doesn't happen, right? But when you're zooming out and keeping the farthest guy on the left and the farthest guy on the right in the shot, everything works out perfectly that you're seeing it, right? There's not all 22 guys in this shot, and that's okay. We prefer it. It needs to be that way, right? Coaches would hate it if the all 22 guys were in the shot at all times. You wouldn't see any detail whatsoever. But it has to make sense when these players are coming off of your shot. Oh my goodness. Wow. Big time. Awesome. Yes, it was. It was good. I love it. Kickoff. Yes, no. Alright. And coming right back in tight. That's right. Why are you zooming in so quick? Because everybody's coming in quick. Everybody's condensing on that ball as quickly as possible. Alright. Setup. Spot on. I love it. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, I love this because no movement whatsoever. Even if it's a pass, he's still keeping the quarterback in perfectly on that edge, right? And no motion whatsoever to make that happen. Nothing. Zero change from the camera. From here to here, you will see absolutely nothing happen. And then, okay, it's a run. Zooming in. That's what I'm talking about, Jacksonville. Perfect. Okay, adjusting to the motion, the formation change, so your framing might need to change. It doesn't have to, but if it does, you better do it. And they made a slight adjustment to make that frame fit the formation better. Perfect. Oh my goodness. It's like the 17th fumble of the game so far. Oh, I'm just guessing. I don't know the stats lines on this game. Somebody can correct me on that. All right. Perfect. Okay. Look at that. Look how quickly they go from the scoreboard to set up, ready to go. Looked like it might have been a rush. They might have rushed to the line. That's why they were still filming the scoreboard to start, and caught the defense off guard. But you can see they had, what, 3 seconds to bring the camera back down and get it set up before the play? And they did it, right? That's practice. That's repetition. It's being a world-class filmer. Having perfect setups. Perfect filming. Doing all the right things. Every single play. Okay. Pretty exciting. Zooming in pretty tight on that. You don't need to get that close to the play. This is the NFL. There's cameras everywhere. There's close-ups. You don't need to show that. This is an evaluation tool side of filming. Okay. This is good looking. Okay. Right on the edge. Right on the edge. Right on the edge. All the way through the play. All 22 guys in the shot the entire time. Perfect setup. You keeping the guys in the shot? No play. But it was perfect. That's alright. We'll get it next time. Next time we'll get it perfect. We're going to set it up perfectly. Keep everybody in the shot the entire time. Yes. Beautiful. Oof, off. Okay. Safety in coverage, right? This is a pass. This safety is absolutely part of this play, right? We need to see it. All right. Is there anything we can do to keep this safety in the shot? Well, we can bring this in 5 yards, right? There's no reason to have an extra 5 yards space back here and then drop a guy out that side. It's an extremely difficult thing to do. These are elite athletes running as fast as they can for, 40, 50, 60 yards down the field. Of course, it's going to be difficult to keep up with them, but that is the task at hand. That is number one priority at that point. Perfect. Oh! Perfect shot. Draw. Quarterback pulling it down and running. Okay. Awesome. You're zooming out with everybody, and all of a sudden you just see the quarterback running straight up the middle. Makes it pretty easy, right? At that point, you can start to come back in. Perfect. Okay. At some point, there's a little extra space behind the defense. Not here, though. Not here. Okay. Right here. All right. At this point, quarterback's pulling it down. There's nobody else over here. So this is where I'd really like to see it stay a little tighter. But for the meat of the play, right here, I need to see these routes. I need to see these defenders. I need to see what's going on here. So staying tight and all that is going to be helpful. Once you see the quarterback pop back out the other side, just coming back in to see more detail. Okay? Tight setup. No reason to zoom in. Zoomed out just slightly. Okay, really tight to the top of the frame. Let's see what happens up there. Yep, throwing right to him. Perfect setup. No play. Again. So perfect. I saw it. I saw it happening. Next time, it'll be flawless. Yeah, baby. All right. All right. Love it. Looks really good. Good defense, by the way. Going again, 3rd and 7. 15 seconds to go before the half. Okay, we got guys off the screen. Got guys scrambling around. Alright, I want to see this guy for longer. Yeah, he's still looking this way. Right? At this point, he's pulling it down and going that direction. And that makes sense to, come back in and start heading this way. But those guys down there at the bottom of the screen are still a big part of this play. Okay. Special teams. Perfect. Special teams. Kicker gets in the frame. Okay. Wasn't the best I've seen out of the special teams for kickoff in this game, but ultimately is as good as anything else I'm seeing in the NFL right now. Okay. Victory formation, kneeling on it, going to the half. And we're going again on the kickoff. Yes, straight pan. I like it. A little bit of zoom out. Perfect. Really liked how well they stayed with everybody zooming in on at the end of that. It's a difficult thing to do. Okay. Slight critique of just coming up a little bit when there's guys at the bottom of the screen that are getting knocked out, but there was nothing up at the top of the screen, so moving up to see nothing and instead of seeing something at the bottom of the screen doesn't make any sense. This is perfect. It's beautiful. Smooth. Crisp, clean. I see all the details that I need to. I see jersey numbers, player names. Excellent. What's not to like about it? It's as good as it gets, right? Right there. As good as it gets. I don't know of anybody doing it better. Perfect. Yep. Okay, we got a string of excellence after some rocky spots here and there. Okay, dropping guys out. I really feel like they've caught their groove here so far. Perfect. Okay, got 5 yards behind the quarterback. If he drops back less than 5 yards, no reason to zoom out. Perfect. Oh my goodness. Okay. Is there anything we can do to keep this tighter? Right here. This is perfect. Right here. Okay. Recognizing that these receivers are starting to flatten out, right? Once they do, you're not zooming out any farther, right? Because zooming out farther has 5, 10, 15, 20 yards behind it, right? So, yes, there is something you can do there. Anticipating what's going to happen on the field and then responding to what actually happens on the field. If you've seen the plays enough, which obviously you have, you're filming every day, you're filming every game, filming every practice, you've seen it 1,000 times, right? As it starts to play out, like the pattern recognition kicks in, right? Like, wait a second, I've seen this before, right? I've seen this 1,000 times before. Usually it goes like this, but it could go any direction, right? But 9 times out of 10, it's going to go the way I'm expecting it to, and I'm just watching for that one time, right? The one time it's going to change, I want to be on top of it. All right? Can we keep this safety in the shot a little bit longer? I mean, it's pass, so he's definitely part of the play, right there. Right? He's actually turning and running. Turn, okay. His hip movement. He turns his hips right there, and starts running backwards. That's important to know. Maybe he wasn't supposed to do that, right? Maybe he was supposed to do it sooner. Maybe he was supposed to do it later. Maybe he did it exactly perfectly, and the coach needs to see that and then show other people this is the right way to do it, right? But in that instance, you couldn't see what happened after that. Yes. Love it. Okay. So there's everybody's rushing back, the quarterback's dropping back, so he comes right to left just a little bit, but still keeping this guy in the shot. Okay? Now the ball's away and he's coming back left to right and still keeping this guy in the shot. So this is it. You know, that's where it's at. Right? I'm just going to let that play. We're going to go right to left with a little bit of zoom out. Right to left, zooming out, left to right, zoom back in. Jacksonville. The Jaguars. 4th and 19. Oh, 4th and 10. Okay. Punt. Punts away. I like the zoom out to make sure you get that the returner into the shot so that you can see those punt statistics. You can calculate hang time, and you can calculate the distance. Punters love that. That's their thing, right? So that's what you want to show on that. And then you also want to show that all the returner, the return team blocking, the punt team getting downfield, shedding blocks, getting to the ball, everything that they need to do on this one shot, right? While also prioritizing the punt statistics so you can show that on the field, on film. So they're going to calculate that as well. Maybe it went into the stat book wrong. They miscalculated, and they can go back and look at it on video. Huge help for that. All right. Okay. Right here, this is looking really good. Right here at the end, after the ball's caught, the natural tendency is to center the ball. Okay. But by doing that, right, ball's right here in the center, right? By doing that, you're seeing crowd, right? I'd rather see field. It's weird, right? Because when you zoom in, it zooms into the center of the frame. All right. But you can zoom in while panning up, right? Or panning down. And so you're zooming into the top of the frame and you're expecting that the end of your zoom is going to land perfectly where that guy's centered on the frame. But if you move up first and then zoom in, then you're cutting out a lot of guys on the field and then showing a lot of the crowd. Okay, that was perfect. Again, being able to see everything that needs to happen on the field. Punters and blocks happening and defenders. Great setup, nice and tight. Run recognition, recognizing that the ball is not going 60 yards downfield. So don't zoom out, right? Perfect. Okay. So here, this is a perfect setup. Really tight on this edge. I mean, whew, that's tight, right? I'm real big on making sure that this guy stays in the shot, so I'm a little nervous with him that tight to the edge, but they didn't drop him out, so I'm okay with it, right? And now this guy's coming in and this guy's coming out, so staying out wide to keep this guy in the shot is totally fine. Once the ball's away, you can drop the quarterback out, but all this happens with minimal zooming out, okay? Zooming out just enough right there, just enough to keep those guys in the shot, and then once the ball's away, zoom back in. I like to see it. Okay. Again, I want to see that safety. I want to see those 2 steps from the safety, right? And then space behind the quarterback. Doesn't help. Space behind the quarterback doesn't help. Dropping out the safety definitely doesn't help. Okay. Alright, there is a slight zoom in at the end of this play, but I like how long they waited for that to happen. Okay, a lot of times people see quarterback sneak and they zoom up real quick, right? But all that does is make it harder for the coaches to watch and evaluate who's actually throwing blocks in that mess of people in there, right? In this case, they just waited for it. Just wait, see what happens. It's already a tight shot. You already see all the detail you need to. Perfect. Oh yeah, that is great. Again, taking your time for this zoom in, okay? It's not a knee-jerk reaction. letting it play out, letting it play out, and then zoom in, nice and smooth, like butter. The movements from Jacksonville are so smooth. And aside from really one critique I've had for them, dropping out players on occasion, aside from that, doing absolutely everything perfectly. That was textbook. Love it. So smooth, so clean. Everything I'm seeing is exactly what I need to see. No movement on the extra point or field goal. Once you get that set up, any sort of motion that you're going to have is just going to get it in the way, right? Okay, let's just pause it right here for a second. Something I talk a lot about is having 2/3 to the defense, right? Instead of centering the ball, you kind of offset it to the defensive side of the ball. And you can see that where the center of the ball is, the center of the screen would be right here. If the ball were in the center of the screen, you'd be adding a whole lot of extra space to this side. But we're pretty close to this 2/3 line, which means the majority of your screen is being used towards the defensive side of the ball. And that is a huge help because that's where the ball's going, right? 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be a tackle for a loss. It's going to be going downhill from the offense. All right, there's a guy running on the field at the last second. All right. Now, one thing I would say is there's a lot of extra space behind the quarterback, unless he's going to take a pretty significant drop back to pass. You're not going to use that space, right? And he might, but I would rather just kind of cut it down and expect that that's not going to happen, and then respond if it does. Okay. I use the term stoic, right? When you get just in the right spot and then you don't have to do anything. Let it play out, right? Nice and smooth zoom in at the end, but everything's right there. There's no reason to make any adjustments, right? And the adjustments that are being made here are so slight, so subtle, and so smooth that they're basically imperceptible to the viewer, right? And so in doing that, that stoic approach allows people to just watch what's happening on the field, and they don't have to adjust to what the camera operator is doing. All right, rather see this guy for a little bit longer, rather not have as much space behind the quarterback, but once the ball's away, we're kind of focused on where it's going at that point. Yep. In pretty close at the end of this as far as zooming in. I like to stay out a little wider. It's a common critique I've had with other teams. When your mindset is to stay this tight, A lot of times they like to get in tight at the end of the play. But, holding back and just keeping a few more guys in the play is helpful. Okay. If there's a late hit or a punch thrown around the pile, if you're just out a little bit farther, you're going to see, more of that. Yep. Quick setup, get into the ball, immediate snap, long ball down the field, and staying with everybody perfectly. Kudos to the filmer on that. I've been in that situation. You are kind of amped up, seeing what's happening, hoping that you get everything ready to go and stay with it throughout the shot. And when you nail it perfectly, there's nothing better, right? They threw a curveball at you, and you're able to keep up with it. That play, perfect. I like so much of what the Jaguars are doing. Ha! So good. Mm-hmm. Love it. Okay, didn't get up to the crowd on the top of the screen. Keeping that ball handler in relation to the rest of the players on the field. Oh my gosh. I don't know what the opposite word of knee-jerk is. Whatever that is. I use the word stoic. I don't even know if that's actually, how that word's supposed to be used. Right? But there it is. Right? No movement. There's no reason to. It's, it's already set up. It's already right there. There's a lot going on the field, and a lot of times people will just see that. Okay, speaking of a lot going on, what is this? Well, it's incredible, fantastic that the filmer is recognizing that and zooming out and getting on top of it before it becomes a problem. Before those guys, run off the screen and then start snapping the ball and running downfield 60 yards. Right? He saw it, recognized it, fixed it, adjusted, ready to go. Guys running downfield, safety, right? These things are all things that happen at times. Did drop out a guy on the right-hand side of the play on that. Oh, my goodness. What is happening? Oh! Which referee am I going to believe? That one. Ha! Okay. Wow. Fantastic. Yeah. So wild stuff. I'm seeing all of it because the filmer is doing such a great job. Right? Bam. So good. So tight, right? There's so much detail to that. Can you see as much detail as possible while keeping everybody in the shot? Fourth and 8. Special teams. Perfect setup, zero movement, pure evaluation, so clean. Okay, zooming in at the snap, at the kick, that's interesting. And then panning across, that works. So good. Okay. 2/3 to the defense. All right. Snap of the ball. Got a lot of extra space behind the quarterback here. Okay. A little bit of space behind the defense. Just even it out. Stretch it out a little bit. Okay. But what they do with that, keep this guy perfectly in the shot and then allow the quarterback, to fill that space. They are moving left to right to change that, right? To keep up with all that. Just barely. Right? Just a slight left to right movement, which is great, right? But it was pretty close on the defensive side while having extra space on the quarterback side. I'd say go ahead and just allow that space to exist on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, perfect. All right. Had a little bit extra space on the backside of the quarterback on this one, but nothing major. Yes. So good. Okay. Quarterback hit the edge, safety hit the edge, but didn't lose anybody. Everything else was spot on. Love it. That's it. That's what we're shooting for every time. That's the opportunity. There's nobody defending you. Everybody else in football has somebody trying to keep them from doing their job, and the filmer can do it perfectly every time. Got nobody stopping them. Okay, a little bit of space behind the quarterback, not a lot of space behind the defenders, but nobody dropped out of the shot. Dropping a guy out of the shot on the bottom of this one, but it was after the ball's away. Obviously looking to the top of the screen. Yes. Fantastic. .206 to go in the game, fourth quarter. Okay, motion didn't change the setup much, if at all. Keeping up with everybody, beautiful. Two-minute warning. Perfect. Wow. So great. Very little zooming out on that. That's, receivers running routes. The natural tendency is just to zoom out indiscriminately. And they don't do that, right? They only do it as is needed. as those receivers start to press the edges of the shot, top to bottom, left to right, whatever it is, right? Seeing it all happen in front of you and then adjusting accordingly. Going for 2. Special teams. Okay, minute 44. Victory. Easy. That's a nice victory setup for the filmer. Camera operator setting up perfectly, left to right. Boom. There it is. It's pretty. It's the best play in football. And game. That's it. Okay. There you go. And then the sky shot. Look at that. Very cool. All right. So, Jacksonville Jaguars, week 14. A little shaky on keeping guys in the shot this week, but I'm expecting that that's not going to be the case every week. It could be, weather related. It could be just mindset this week. I'm going to go back and look at more video from the Jaguars from 2025 and see, what they're putting together week to week to week, because when they're not dropping players out of the shot, they are spot on perfect almost all the time, right? And so my question would be, what can you do to fix that one thing, right? Is there one thing that you're doing that you can fix that is going to address all of those problems all at once? There's a lot of filmers that have a lot of problems and they have to fix one at a time or all of them all at once, right? If there's really only one issue that I'm seeing over and over again, then fixing that one problem is an instant fix for all of your woes, right? So when it comes down to it, there was 158 plays, 146 of them were positive. The score is 92%, a bonus of 80%. Okay, so 80% of the time they are excellent, which is a high number, right? High percentage. And then that gives them a total of 100.38% for this game. They have had higher scores in other games that I've seen, so I'm interested to see which is more consistent throughout the entire season. Is it closer to this one where they're dropping out a lot of guys throughout the several plays, 11 in this game, or is it more like the other ones where they were a whole lot more consistent in keeping guys in the shot? But either way, they are doing everything right from the perspective of what are you doing with your camera and how well are you doing it. This is the team to look to. So interested in seeing more from the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2025, and best of luck in 2026.